When we're talking about this report into policing protests and the size and frequency of protests over the conflict in Gaza have strained resources, it's being reported, Peter. I'm sitting here in fear and trepidation. Am I going to be seen to be Islamophobic by commenting on this? I mean, this is fact. This is not opinion.
Yeah, this is quite a wide-ranging report, and what really needs to be done is to read between the lines of what is said, because the report stops short of making criticism, particularly of the police and, of course, the Met Police. But what it does say is, very notably, is that policing of protests must be done without fear or favour. So that's clearly hinting at the fact that they think it may not have applied in the past, and that policing should be applied equally, whether it's a protest of 20 people or 20,000 people. So those quotes, I think, are really saying to the Metropolitan Police, in less than clear language, however, come on, you know, it's fallen short of what it should have been.
And to Joe Bloggs, I mean, you almost don't need this report to tell them this, but what this has identified is that all of these protests are diverting resources away from day-to-day policing. So if you have a burglary, chances are the police won't be able to attend because all of their overtime, all of their work is being spent trying to keep people safe during these protests.
Absolutely, and the committee has said that organisers of these protests probably should be forced into giving more notice of them, because literally they're telling the Met within days that there's going to be 100,000 or more people on the streets of London, and of course that's putting huge pressure on the police and their resources. There's some other interesting points I think that it raises, namely we've seen a rise in hate crime incidents recently since the events of the 7th of October last year, and the committee point out that the government's hate crime action plan has expired. Well, clearly that's quite a shortcoming on behalf of the government, and they're saying that it's too early to tell whether the new Public Order Act provisions that were passed last year are actually going to be effective or not within the policing. And there's a big statement in regard to our elected representatives, in other words, our MPs, that they must feel free from intimidation. And of course, I think we would all chime with that.
OK, let's tune in to the force itself and see, give us an insight into how they're feeling. For instance, I'm seeing here 4,000 rest days have been cancelled in a 3-month period to ensure protests could be policed safely. Now, what is a rest day? We're talking about, like, you work Monday to Friday and you get the weekend off. Is that a rest day, or is a rest day more than that?
Yes, but of course, in policing terms, officers don't work those kind of shifts. They are used to working shift work and weekends and bank holidays and all of that. So their days off are scheduled at various stages according to their commitments. But what it is saying is when there are thousands of officers required to police one of these huge protests, they have to cancel officers' leave at very short notice a lot of the time. And there is, of course, financial implications to that, because if we were police officers and we had our day off scheduled and it was cancelled with less than 5 days' notice, we get paid double money for that. So there's a cost implication to it. Of course, the Met have had to draft in officers from other police services, the length and breadth of the country. Those officers need transport, they need accommodation, they've got to be put up in hotels, and so the bill grows and grows and grows.
But in fairness, very little of this has anything to do with Sadiq Khan, has it?
Well, he doesn't get a mention in the report, of course, although I think the Met are going to be extremely grateful that they do not get subject to direct criticism. They can sit in the corridors of policing power today and say, see, we're not directly criticised, but when the report does say you've got to do this policing without fear or favour, that is a very stern, albeit somewhat veiled criticism.
OK, my friend, thank you. We're going to be talking about this throughout the programme, but Peter Bleksley, thank you very much indeed for introducing us to it.